Hello, all, and welcome back to Actual Play, BALIKBAYAN. We have completed our city and all of its desires. We've opened up with some beautiful shots of both the city and of our characters, Tonio, Ezra, and Measure. And we just made a little droid bot into a sentient devotee of the god of puddles, the small rain god of puddles, which is a lovely little sentiment, and just also to show how far we fit outside of the corporate expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. So good, so good. All right. So for the next scene, I'd love to see a little bit more of Ezra. So I think what happens when Tonya leaves with the drone and Measure is focused on other things, there's a window nearby. And Ezra, you hear a voice that goes, "Psst, hey, Ezra, Ezra,
Just
stay."
sort of just turn slowly and look through said window.
And you see like these little steel fingers of an android, and then there's this like visor, and you know there's like in Watch Dogs 2, that guy who like has emoticons that show up on the face, so like that's happening where it's like these like happy excited eye faces. Hey Ezra, come on, let's play, let's ditch those losers, come on.
Play? What exactly are we playing?
What, Ezra? You promised me. You made no such promise, but they're convinced you made a promise. So this is your little android friend, who I'm double checking in the playbook.
I'm trying to see because the android that's mentioned in my playbook is an android that once a human I killed. So I'm trying like, how is this a friend? But also, so that's what I'm like.
Well, the weird thing is they consider you a friend, and they don't remember too much of what happened. They just know that they're attached to you and they like you.
Okay.
And the thing is, as they come closer, the holograph starts to flicker on a little bit, and they start to look more like what they did.
Okay.
When they were human, when they were alive. So they have long, the hair flicks in and out, but it's like long holographic hair almost down to the waist as they pull themselves up onto the windowsill, and they have large, deep set eyes, and then it flickers back out into the emoticons again, and they look at you. So it's this strange, like it's almost like the robot part is like a skeleton, and then the holograph is like the flesh on
That's
top.
pretty cool. Yeah.
And then they smile at you, and they say, well, if you don't want to play a game, because I don't know, I mean, and they look at Measure. You can tell like they're not sure about Measure. They're like, and they lean over and whisper really loudly, I don't like what Measure did the last time.
I just sort of give them a look and be like, all right, let's go out there and see. Let's just have a chat. So I'm just gonna like sort of just wave to. I think Tony already left with the tiny droid. I think Measure's just in there.
I think Measure like might see you, but not see the not see your friend. Like maybe they're just like outside of out of view.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you leave Measure, it's okay. They're totally used to being left alone. That's fine.
I'm gonna wave to them. I'm not gonna like be like.
I know. I'm just being emo. But also, how freaking edgelord is it that you have a friend who doesn't know you killed them? That is so cool. Just from the like. Anywho, sorry. Go on. Yes.
I think they're still getting used to that. Like I think Ezra's still getting used to that because like it's like, why are you attached to me? Go away. So Ezra goes outside and sort of just looks at the droid and is like, what did Measure do again to you?
Oh, well, I had stuff come up. I had like, what do you fleshy types? Well, you're not completely fleshy, so that's why you're cool. But what's the word? And you can see them sort of like, and then they go into like those at signs for their eyes as they start to try to think it through. Memories. That's right. Memories, but fragmented and weird and not nice. Not nice. So I went to measure to get them out, and measure instead said to recover, and no, just forget. Right? Forgetting's good.
I mean, it can be if you need to.
Well, but I don't want to forget you, Ezra. That's one thing I want to remember. You're cool.
I think at this point, given to the fate. Hold on, I gotta read the fading again. 1 second.
Oh, sure. Fading is just basically the idea of the elementals no longer being as immortal, or it could also be you being really emotional.
I think this is a weak move where like I'm giving into the fading and feeling mortal for a hot second, because like I'm having these mixed emotions that like you typically, as like who I am, I'm just like, no, this is the way. And then now I'm like, oh, it likes me, but like, why did it deserve this? Like, what sort of situation. And so I think for a second, Ezra's sort of like stone demeanor, like with the smirk and like very cool sort of bless you. Okay. Sort of being is, and they just sort of give it like the smallest of smiles, like just a little bit, and it's like, okay, what playing, what are we doing?
You game?
What do you want to do?
Oh, yay. My favorite game is people watching. We're going to follow them from the shadows and see what they're up to. Right?
I mean, I do like people watching. It's definitely entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah. So lead the way.
Yeah. And then they start to, that weird way androids can move because they don't have bones, right? So it's sort of like crawls up a little bit, and then it remembers, oh, I shouldn't crawl. Like, that's kind of weird. As it like jumps down, because I assume like measure wasn't too high up, so like maybe this is like the second or third story of this shanty like building that's been put together. So they jump down and then they wave you over, and for a moment it flashes back to right before you killed them, when they were like standing below you, and this was happening near the corp. But then that memory fades for a moment, and it's back to them just like waving you over.
All right. I'm just sighing deeply and going along with it. But like with that, so I'm just reading my neutral moves real quick. One of them is describing the signs of a predator. Am I describing my signs as a predator, or am I describing what I see in other people?
Ooh, either works.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So in this scene, you could say like, like just to give examples of how that could apply in the situation. Like, oh, you notice how parts of this android, we have to give them a name. I kind of like the idea of error or air or something along those lines. But anyway, so this android, you could say, oh, I'm seeing signs of like how they could become a predator or how they're dangerous. Or you could say, oh, I sense something is following us, someone is watching us. Or you could say, I feel something inside me wants to like hunt them down and track them, right?
Yeah. I think with this and how I'm feeling it right now is that if they're going to be watching people, I think Ezra's getting into that mentality like, yes, now we're going to watch people. We're going to learn their moves. We're going to learn where they are. We're going to see how this is going to be. Oh, it's a game for you? That's good. That's a game. That's cute. That's a game for you. But for me, it's just another day of my job.
Yeah, you're a hunter, right?
Yeah.
You're stalking your prey.
Mm-hmm.
Was the name Era like ERREO? Because like I was thinking like Seg for Segfault would be
I like that.
A really cute name.
That's even better. Let's go with that. Yeah. Let me write that down for us. That's really cute. But yeah, so And I stuck with they them pronouns, but feel free to
I think
change
them
them.
works honestly in this situation. So
Cool.
yeah.
And then so Seg jumps down and starts leading you towards, like, in this part of Goblin City, like things are sort of like close together, like you can barely walk through, but because you're so good at like slightly changing your form, you can keep up with them. You can see how parts of Seg sort of like collapse in on themselves so they can form, they can go into these small spaces, and they say, oh, here's one. I like watching this one. And you can see, like, they bring you down, closer down to the ground. There is a place. I just love putting drag queens in a cyberpunk setting. So this room is full of drag queens. Like, they're getting ready. Um, they're putting on what they found in the dumpsters, all these different clothes and makeup. And some of them are experimenting with UV light stuff. So the lights keep turning on and off, and they're all like gossiping about people, and they're all giving each other terrible love advice. Right. And Seg turns to you and says, right. People watching, fun, game. Mm-hmm.
Yes, fun. And like they say it in a way it's like, yeah, I agree, but like also, and I think with this, Ezra's just sort of like eyes are locked on them, like each one just sort of like making sure that they know each one of their faces in and out of makeup before the makeup's on, just in case for future reference.
And you
You're-
do recognize.
if-
Oh, go ahead.
Ishti is likely to be in that scene. The sex worker NPC.
I like that.
Just highlighting that she's likely to be there.
Yeah, cool. I like that. Yeah, and Ishti is like, do you feel, Tonya, that she would be more like of a drag mother helping other people, or is this something that she's learning?
She's probably still learning more than like giving advice, but she's definitely like doling out the bad relationship advice.
Absolutely.
If you've seen Princess Jellyfish, I'm imagining her as the drag character from Princess Jellyfish.
Oh, I should look that up. Cool. But yeah, for sure. And I've been meaning to watch this. Okay, anyway, definitely going to. And so as you can see that she's getting ready with the rest. A lot of people are fawning over her. This is like her second or third time. And they're all preparing for the festival. They're also going to put on a show for everybody. But Ezra, you recognize one of these people. You've seen them in the gleaming high rises. You've seen them working at the Corp.
That's really intriguing because why are they here? Why are they in the Goblin City with these drag queens? Like, are they living a double life? Is it like something? Now Ezra's really intrigued, and I think for the rest of the night or however long it takes, they're gonna be kind of, if not pulled away, kind of locked on that one person, because now this is their prey, because they want to know exactly why they're coming to this area.
Ooh, would you like to activate your hunter prey elemental magic, or do you want to save that?
Oh, do I have that?
Yeah,
That's definitely.
I do
yeah.
have that.
Yeah, it's exactly what you described, actually. So,
I guess I am.
Yeah, let me read it out. So push against your programming and activate lethal mode. Name your prey. Until you switch targets or have them in your grasp, you will always know where they are and what they fear. The GM will tell you how you become fearful in turn. For as long as the protocols remain stable and your heart is strong, you have the power to terrify, mesmerize, and distract your prey.
Yeah. Let's do it. And
so
I think this energy sort of changes. Oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to ask a mechanical question about elemental magic. Does using your elemental magic, is it considered a strong or a weak move, or is it a neutral?
Yeah, it is both. So if you don't spend a token, it means that the consequences that I described. So here, the consequences, how you become fearful in turn, it becomes bigger, right? Versus if you spend a token as a strong move, it's less of a consequence.
Right. Use your elemental magic. Got it.
Yeah. I think I am going to use my token for the time being, just so we don't do like from the get-go crazy things happening, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. So I will say the way that you become fearful is only because you notice that Seg next to you starts to mimic your programming. Like you can feel that there's something in them that you can feel the protocol start to cascade through them as well, and they start mimicking your movements.
That's probably gonna be a problem in the future. That's a future me problem.
Yeah, not a now problem. Not a now is a problem.
Just maybe a later problem.
Yeah. I mean, they can help out. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're just worried that if you take it too far, that Seg could also be brought over. Like you're not sure of how much they're picking. You don't know how they're picking up your machine magic this way, how they're sucking in these protocols, but they turn very serious. Like the cheerful, cutesy persona that they had starts to shut down as they get really eerily quiet. It's like seeing a mirror of yourself. You're like, oh, am I like that? Wow.
This is how I really am. Oh, geez.
Is that my voice? You know?
Is that my voice?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But so you get a closer look, and to say what because you can always pick up on what they're afraid of. They are. Yeah, you can definitely pick it up, especially because you paid a token for this. You can tell that they keep looking outside the windows. It's a very small window, and you can tell that they're waiting, and that they're going to give a signal. So you can tell that they've been planted in some way, and you recognize that no one else sees them the way you do. They have a holographic mesh of some kind, so they're trying to look like someone else, but only you were able to see through it.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'm just going to
I guess the question is, are you going to lone wolf this, or are you going to call the others?
I think, well, what would they do? I mean, it is interesting that this person from the corp world is in the Goblin City, and it doesn't look like they'll play it now. I think I gotta let the others know. So I'm going to. Do we have a way of communicating, or do I have to go hunt them down?
Yeah, I think we're probably cybered up enough that it's reasonable for us to have like communication links that we can just talk to.
Like a secure one, yeah.
Yeah, if that sounds cool to people. Sometimes not having that is also fun, but like, yeah.
It also helps me, so I don't have to leave the scene and run back to go tell you.
Yeah. I mean, we can just literally cut to Measure Antonio walking in the door because you told us. Like, if you want to just like cut to, like you like tap the side of your head, and in a few moments later we're arriving. I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen.
Sounds good. So, Ash, are you cool with that? That Measure Antonio just sort of arrived. So yes, like when we come in and we see all this, what is Ezra? Morgan, what do you think, Ezra? What like where do you see us? Like, do you want us to be coming to you, or like separating so that we're in different parts of the room?
I think we're still on the outside. We're not even like in the building yet. Like I think we're just watching from the outside, like because we're people watching.
Got it.
And
like through a window or something like that.
Yeah, like through a window, and then each time that the plant comes and looks out the window, we just zip zap zoop and like duck and hide or something, and then come back. But yeah, I think we're probably like in an alleyway somewhere, and I sort of just like flag y'all over and let y'all know what's going on.
What danger do you think this corp person presents?
I mean, it's a corp in the Goblin City, so it may be maybe they're trying to clean house. Who knows? Because if they're looking to open up new sectors, they could just easily demolish this one and just try to take over.
Do Do you think Measure sort of looks at you and is like trying to appraise your, your body language and your expression, and I think Measure's unable to, so they say, "Are you inclined to activate your protocols?" Which means, are you intending to kill them? Right? That's what Measure. That's Measure's polite way of saying, like, are you saying we should go kill them?
I feel like
Because
there's
otherwise,
captions, like you say this, and then like it's like an interpretation, like of a different language underneath.
Yeah, I mean, you have a protocol called Hunt and Prey, right? Like it's like totally.
Yeah. If it comes down to that, yeah.
But until then, perhaps we should find out their desires.
I'm just purely watching right now.
I walk in and introduce myself to the plant.
I'm glad we had this, like, as we're talking very candidly, and we see out of the corner of our eyes that
like in the window, like we're like in front of the window.
Tonio, yeah, we're
you
like,
turn to talk to Tonio and he's not there.
Yeah. And we turn and we look back and we see you inside talking, and we're like, I look at Ezra, I'm glad we had this thoughtful discussion to make the plan.
Me too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you walk in, Tonio, the drag queens are always happy to see you. They see you as a walking confession booth. They want to talk about their problems, whether or not you're happy with that. But that's how they see you.
No, that's the thing that Tonio is absolutely into. Yeah, and I think goes in and like, yeah, like just like beelines for this plant, and like just greets her like so warmly, like just with like hi, how are you? Are you one of Ishti's friends? And Ishti's and like Ishti's over in the corner, and I'm like, and like I try to like get her attention, but she's too busy, and I'm like, that's sorry, that's very very rude of me. I should go, and like
No, I'm happy to see you, she says, reaching out, and she smiles. I've heard so much about you, Tonio. I was hoping we could see each other today.
About me? Well, that's very very flattering. What I'm assuming you've heard good things.
Oh yeah, all the goblins. They all love you so much. We love you so much. And you can tell, like, they're not very good at this
this
thing. They're slipping up a lot. And I'm gonna say, Ezra, as this talk is happening, you can feel the fear spiking in them. Like there's just so much of it. And you can tell they're like, should I? No, just hold on. Like they're trying to, you don't know what moment they're waiting for to call the corp. But yeah. But Tonio, what do you do?
Do you want us to be entering at this point? Like, should we?
Well, I just wanted to like to like break movement, right? Like I wanted to like put that into play.
Yeah.
I think I want to I want to try and like really, I'm just feeding her opportunities to express herself, to like be like, and I'm just like I'm really working hard to create a safe space for her to be a genuine person, right? And to be like, I'm here for you. I'm supporting. What's up? It seems like you like I help a lot of these girls with like some of their emotional stuff. Is that a thing that you're dealing with, right?
Right. Yes, I do need to talk to someone, perhaps in private, she says, smiling.
Yeah, in which case, yeah, Tonu is definitely like, oh yeah, like just over here, right? Like, and like knows like an area or a part of the space where he would usually talk in private to someone, like if they were, it might be like just outside the door or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and as they go outside, as she goes outside with you, she looks at you and she says, "I know that the other goblins have been talking about refugees here in Goblin City. I'm just worried if this is going to cause problems for us, you know?" And you can tell that she's trying to fish for
Information about
information.
yeah.
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 I really have to stress
I
she's not good at this, right? Like, yeah.
And I forgive her for her like yeah, you like that's a like I understand it's like it's okay to be scared about things, but we have to believe in each other, and we all and understand that like the more of us that stand together and help each other as a community. Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm trying so. I'm just like turning the screws of like of like if there is an ounce of guilt in her, right? I'm just um by like yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's cool. Like I'm sorry that you're like having that's scaring you, but don't worry, we're here. And I put a hand on her shoulder and like make like really intense eye contact and all these sorts of things.
You hear a little god in the area, and there's this
Yeah.
soft whisper that says, "Let me tear off her mask. I want to tear it off." And it's a little god of masks.
Mm. Mm. Very good. Very good.
Can I still see them like where they are? Like
Yeah.
All,
What's
at
what?
all
Yeah.
times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Constantly.
At all times.
Yeah.
I love.
I
love
want to give this. I want to give a moment, like in case either of the others want to like interject.
Yeah. While you hear that little voice.
Because like part of the thing is that I am like the like her headspace must be screaming at Ezra at this point. Like
Yeah.
And so, Ezra, you can certainly feel there's a lot of desperation in her. Like she is hoping that Tonio can lead her to where the other elementals are. And you start to get a good sense like she's trying to, but she's so out of her element. This is not something that she's good at. How did the corp force her into this? Right. So you get this sense of that this is punishment.
And I don't know. I think Ezra's sort of like in sort of down, sort of like watching, eyes locked, never moving, almost like a cat ready to pounce on its prey sort of situation. Just but really quiet and just watching, waiting for the right movement.
Are we still outside, looking through the window, or have we gone in? Are we?
I think because they went through like another room or something, we probably went around to like another window.
I kind of like the idea, like as they move, the two of you, like just quietly.
Yeah, I think it's starting to rain.
Like,
because
I think I took her into like like the alley that's like just off so that like now you could just like could walk up and stab her, right? Like if you wanted to.
Yeah. Maybe we're behind a bin then, like a garbage can, like a garbage dumpster. Yeah.
And as you're like looking very keenly, I'm like, it's very clear that she's lying. And if I know that she's lying, then I'm sure you and Tonio figured it out long ago. Like measures like I'm the worst judge of character, and if I can tell that she's like, like you both must understand it. I would like to ask a question. I want to know what strings the city has on her, and I think I can ask that in the form of reach out to the city's heart and see it clearly. And I want to know what it's clear. I mean, Morgan, is okay with you that if Ezra's communicated some of that, like that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder what blackmail or other sort of leverage they have to put this person who's clearly not good at this. Like we can all tell that she's not good at this into this uncomfortable role. That's because maybe we could remove some of those puppet strings. I don't know.
Yeah, and so as you reach out to the heart, what initial signs are you trying to read? Like, is it the movements in the fauna? Is it the pulsating lights.
Yeah, I think it's this weird mix of like connecting to the matrixy thing, like connect, like I think of it like there's this weird mix of like detecting comm signals and tracing back to like the source of whoever might be tracking her. Like there's like that like very techie view, and then also like we see like a lot of that, like when having to choose between like hundreds of forking branches, Measure kind of looks at the way that like the formation of some of the fauna, that's like the lichen on the wall and how it lights up, and like the path that of the light on the lichen is like maps to their path of like which networks they're investigating to like not be spotted by you know, the city security, etc. Like,
Yeah, I like that. I kind of like when you mentioned lichen. Do you remember the Hulk movie by Ang Lee, when every time they would just like there'd be this weird close up of cells, and then all of a sudden there's a flashback.
yes, yeah,
So like
yeah.
I feel like that's what's happening. Like we close up on the lichen and the pulsating, and it's all these rapid cuts going back and forth, and it's like you're going into this sort of like trance, but you're still awake, right? But there's a part of you that's trancing and connecting to the heart. And for a moment, you can feel the heart in the city. You can feel that it's underneath, it's connected to everything. It's massing through. The lichen reaches out in the same way that the heart reaches out. And the heart brings you along, and it just flashes. And you very clearly see, you don't recognize them, but the audience recognizes that this is Ezra's long lost sibling. And you can see them slap the person across the face and say, you have one last chance. If what you're saying is true and Ezra is alive, I need you to be bait. And then it comes back.
Nice. And yeah, so I just put my, how does Ezra feel about being touched? Can Measure put their hand on Ezra's shoulder?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. And I just say, she's looking for you. And it's sort of ambiguous as to who she is. Is it the woman that, you know, that I saw in the vision, or is it, you know, the woman in the alley, but that with Tonio? But
yeah, and I think with that, Ezra is sort of slightly confused, but also knowing it's Corp, maybe has an inkling of an idea of whom it may be, and sort of just like crouches down just a bit more, like just like, all right, we're playing this game. Let's.
And I think you feel Seg next to you, and Seg is going a little further in the programming. Like they're opening up, ready to do something. You can see the holographic lines start to all turn into this bright, unnerving red that starts to bleed through the rain.
That's cool.
Nice. Your description of cybernetic stuff and androids is so good.
I love cyberpunk stuff so much.
I want to ask Ezra a question because it's your lore, so it's perfect for me to ask. As I see like you crouch, I'm like, the question is, what are they truly afraid of? But I think it's germane in this case. I'm like, are you afraid of? Are you are you afraid of the woman that she answers to? Are you afraid of what you might do to her?
I think that actually throws Ezra for a loop for a second, as I just sort of their expression sort of softens a bit and just thinks about it, and sort of actually for once taking their eyes off of the subject, their target, and looking at Measure, and being anything with the Corp finding out who we are is not good.
And it seems that the simple answer would be to eliminate the threat. And Measure definitely says that remorsefully, like not like, I'm not like, yay, let's go kill random people at all. But also like, if that's really your priority, then you probably don't want this person to succeed.
Yeah, and I think we should stop there. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the other scene happen. So from those things, we'll figure out what's going on.
So,
All right.
Cool.
I'm gonna like I'm going to kind of I'm gonna like play on hiding my wisdom in riddles. I'm going to like say something that is like inviting, like I talk about like I'm saying to this person like, yeah, like things are scary out here, and I think I definitely I say like outside of the chrome, there's danger around every corner, and I'm specifically saying like, if you're gonna do something, do it now. Otherwise, I'm gonna take a different course of action. Like, but I'm inviting
or to
Ezra.
To her. Okay.
I'm specifically saying a thing that is like, is me talking, so that she thinks I'm talking to her, but I'm actually talking to you. Right?
Okay.
I'm using player speak.
Yeah.
Nice. But that's cool because we have awesome subtle innuendo that the camera catches really well, so we know that the characters understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, yeah, I want to put that in front of you of like Tonyo has like I'm going to do this my way, but I want to but if you don't do things your way first.
And I think hearing that, Ezra's going to I want to say they move pretty fast, especially when they're in this mode. That they're gonna to I don't know how to let me read the details real quick. Okay. Yeah. So with that, I'm going to use a weak move that says resort to violence, pain as your tool, and or destroy something important. I don't know exactly. Maybe they go hand in hand in this sort of situation, but I'm just only doing it for one token, and choosing one. That they're going to just basically just take the person and how does Measure feel about violence?
It's almost never the solution.
I mean, like being in the space, because how would Ezra know how they feel?
Oh, I mean, we travel. We're immortal creatures that have been together in some. I mean, I feel like Ezra and Measure were together on the old planet before we came here. I think they have history. I think they know each other. If that's cool with you,
yeah.
I think Measure has tried to be like Ezra in the past and failed, and part of that is because they can't wrap their head around the idea that violence ever causes solutions. Like they're very like, how do we fix problems? How do we create solutions? And they're like, well, violence can't solve a conflict, but I understand that it can stop a conflict. It can't.
There's no conflict if it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, right. So yeah, no, it makes Measure very uncomfortable. Me, Sean, I'm totally fine with you.
That's why I'm asking Ezra. Like, I mean, like Ezra's I'm asking about Ezra's like with Measure, because I think for that, then I think as they run, Ezra grabs the woman or the person and drags them to a separate alley, and just y'all hear noises, so it's off screen, but you know what's happening. It's quick, it's fast, it's brutal.
So yeah, I think like from Tonya's perspective, yeah, this is so I'm trying to I'm triggering allow doubt to drive you towards despair, right? Like I do this is me being like there's danger around every corner, right? And then like for a moment, like Tonya is hoping that Ezra doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right. It's like
I think Measure is standing by your side in this, like when you
and
this happens.
And yeah, I'm curious because yeah, I definitely I turn to Measure after this happens, and like she died with her mask on.
Maybe you could send one of your small gods to unmask her now so that she can be remembered for who she was.
Take a token.
Yes, I will.
Yeah,
Yeah, like as that question hangs in the air, I just want to briefly, because it's happening off screen for sure. But Ezra, I kind of like the idea, like we just see your feet and like we don't know if it's blood or rainwater that's like shifting towards your feet. But then there's a voice that comes through and it sounds like a recording and it says, "Yes, the backup plan. Ezra, if you're hearing this, then you've done exactly what I thought you would do."
And then if I hear that, I think I'm also going to do I'm just going to, because it's probably coming from the mask. I know it's like corporate technology. Just going to reach for the mask and just tear it off and just crumple it up in my hands. So sorry, I know you're going to do a mask thing, but I feel like this, unless your little god stops me, but like.
no, interesting.
I think the more important part of Measure's request was that she be remembered, right? It's not so much the god of masks necessarily. I brought that up because you had previously been talking about the god of masks, but like the god of memories, or that's too big probably. It's little gods, you know, the gods of this district or something like that would
the goblin god.
What's that?
I mean,
the goblin god.
Yeah.
I think I think I would like to I don't think I want to like name a specific small god. But what I want to do is I want to take the body to a like quiet to what Tonya would call a sacred place, right? Somewhere quiet that you're likely to be unintruded on. And then I'm gonna like kind of let the like I want to place this person down and let the little gods like through me do whatever burial rites they expect, right?
Nice.
And it's not necessarily about what this person wants, right? But I'm gonna give myself up to the and let the little gods use my body for a time. So I'm curious about like if I've laid out the body and then I give myself up, what do I find when I come back?
Ooh,
Jammy.
yeah. What you find is that somehow all that's left are the bones. You don't know what happened to the skin or the flesh. And very, very carefully with the trash in the area, a new exoskeleton has been built around the bones. And there's something like 2 coins on the eyes, and their hands are pressed over. And you just hear a soft voice that says, "Nothing is wasted. Nothing is forgotten. It will return to where it is needed."
Cool.
Can we get a little grackle call in the background?
Oh yeah, you see the little. Oh my gosh, are they? Like it's tempted to go after one of the bones.
Well, just because the bone thing at the beginning is.
It's really good. But yeah, and I think the last scene, unless someone wants to get in a last scene before we go into like decompression mode from the session, does anyone have a last thing they want to do?
I think cutting back to us and like, you know, after Tonio took the body off, Ezra sort of just takes the crumpled mask that they tore off and destroyed in their hands and just hands it to Measure and be like, "Spare parts."
I imagine this mask is like 1/2 physical and 1/2 hollow, right? Like it sort of projects as well. Like, so maybe the physical mask doesn't really look like much of anything, but then it can just sort of project any face you want.
Yeah, it's kind of like a soft mesh kind of situation.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like a soft mesh, and then like it sort of just projects like sort of like features and stuff.
Yeah. And I say, I wonder what it will be like to look through the eyes of the ones who hunt us. And I like put it up to my face, but I don't quite put it on, right? Like I just like holding it up, like as though I'm gonna look through it. I think that's yeah.
That's cute.
Trying to be edgy like you, Ezra. Trying to be cool.
Yeah, and
that's what Measure's thinking. Of course, they're too composed to actually say that. You know that's what they're thinking. You know they're trying to impress you.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the last thing we see is that the camera moves through the alleyway that you all came from, and it moves through the dark corners, and we see just the blaring red light against the rain on the wall. And for a moment, we see Seg. Their hair is now completely red down to the ground. And around them are just all these dead bodies of the corp. And Seg just very slowly starts to pull the bodies into the garbage.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
It's no one's blaming you for anything because we don't even know.
Yeah.
Can't blame me for what we don't know about.
Just saying, for the record.
I think it should be into that pile, that wall, like a big old pile where there's tons of other bones that the grackles fought over, you know.
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. Absolutely. That's a good one.
Or we see the street sign, Park and Broadway, as Seg is dragging the bodies.
Perfect.
Nice, cool. Are there end of session things?
Oh yeah, just stars and wishes that I'd love to hear from everybody. Like what you really liked about the session, what you would like to see of in the next session or in the series, just so that we can. But I'll go ahead and start. Actually, sure. My big stars are. I think everyone actually took to the game really well. Like this is the fastest I've seen people pick up on the weak moves. So I think everyone is doing an excellent job on the weak moves and the lures and it flowing back and forth. So that was super great. I really love that moment when Morgan was describing Hunt Your Prey exactly.
I didn't even realize it. I was like, okay,
and it shows you were in character, right?
Yeah, I guess I do know this character after all. Like,
yeah.
I was so concerned that I wasn't feeling it, and I'm like, I'm in it.
You're in it. You're doing it.
I'm doing the thing.
Yeah, super good. And so I thought I loved how Tonio is so interesting. Like, I'm gonna go talk to them. Like that was really great. I love those moments.
It was definitely like, yeah, it's interesting. I'm having fun trying to find the space between like how I see Tonio as a character and the moves and things that I have, which I think is a fun challenge for me as a role player, because Tonio, like their faith is in the idea that it is in complexity, right? So they're like, oh, a bad person. Well, they're doing bad things. They're probably nice, right? Like I'll go and talk to them, right? It's simple because in its complexity, right? Like there's that, yeah. So it's an interesting like challenge of a character to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I was super impressed, and so and like I'll go into my wishes after, but I'd love to hear stars from let's go in like reverse character keeper order. So let's start with Sean. What are your stars and wishes for the session?
So Jamie, the way you capture the cyberpunk setting is like I can see why you made this game now, like because you needed a game to be able to express your androids with emoji eyes, and like you just like nailed it. That was all of your like setting details and all these things. I felt like when we're making characters, like everything was like wide open, and I feel like your protocols engaged the moment we started to play, because you're like, now I'm going to get in with like all these gritty details. Like we gave you the palette to paint with, and you're just detailing the world in so many like really wonderful ways. I love that, and I love there's so many good little descriptions. Morgan, I was super excited to see the contrast between Ezra, who had no idea what the hell to do with a weird situation of like, what is this droid? It's a piece of junk. Why are you making it alive? Like just exasperated and like totally like out of his element.
Yeah.
Compared to like Ezra in the moment of I see a threat, I will I will find out its purpose and neutralize the the threat. Like that shift of like what do you do? And also I feel like by doing that you really you started the game, right? Like we were kind of Dan the lifing and we were sort of like cool, this is just what our characters are up to, but you got us on, we know your sister's searching for you, we know that the backup plan is being executed, right? Like picking that weak move at the end was like very, very choice. And Ash, I just gotta say, I feel like Measure and Tonio are just two weirdos who are just like, yeah, we'll just take this thing and give it sentience and then give it a purpose. And we're just like, this seems totally normal. Like we're like the angel and the savvy head, like walking around just or the brain or just like walking around and everyone's like, I don't understand those two. Like, what are they up to? And so I loved that I got a chance like to have one-on-one scenes with both of you and like that we like relate in very, very different ways. And in the ways in which Measure and Tonio are very compatible, even though they're way different from each other. So anyway, those are my stars. I'm sure there's more, but yeah.
I mean, my big star is Sean. You always bring a really good emotional texture to your characters, and I feel like that's definitely true for Measure. I'm like, yeah, all right, this character's like got a lot of like layers that are all interacting with each other at any given point in time, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was definitely like, apart from like things that were mentioned, that's definitely my big one.
And Morgan, what are your stars?
I think just starting it off and just the I guess that shock of like how Tonio and Measure are both like, yeah, this droid we must save and protect baby. I'm like, what? It's a droid. But the baby, I'm like, why? I think that was just like a really good like, okay, this is what I'm getting to. Okay.
Everyone and everything is baby to Tonio.
Baby.
Well, as soon as we got off as soon as we took our first break, Morgan was like, you're both playing Cinnamon Buns and I'm playing this like hard edgy character and I'm used to playing the Cinnamon Buns. So I was like, yes, this is 100% true. We are playing these softies. But,
yeah,
but clearly, strong action needed to be taken, or taking strong action was a solution, rather. So I'm glad. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So that was good, and and also Star was just like Tony was like, I'm just walking in there and just talking. Just gonna talk, and I'm like,
sorry.
And like we're just like in like the outside, just like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what the plan is. We're gonna watch it, and then you just see Tony, and you're like, okay, well, this is happening now. Change of plans. Don't apologize. It's fantastic, but like,
yeah, it was so good.
Yeah,
you could have really planned all day. You made the action. You made things happen.
You pushed the narrative along instead of us just being like, and we're watching, and we're watching, and we're watching. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Oh, sorry. I thought Ash was gonna say something. Yeah. So, what are our wishes? Like, what are we hoping will happen in the next session, either for your characters or for the themes? Like, what are we interested in getting into? Like, Morgan, I especially want to check in. Are you okay with what's happening so far with your sibling?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited about that story arc because I feel like now there's a clock that's ticking, and things are gonna happen.
Yeah, the backup plan I'm very curious about. I definitely want to pursue that. As much as it's sort of like very personal and very like self-indulgent, I really enjoyed the scene with Elon and I think remembering that Elon's a big part of Measure's life. I'd like to do that, even if it's just sort of like narrated over. Like for me, that kind of like regular reminder that this is not like a convenient to forget person. This is like Measure's love and a person who, and like one person they care a lot about, and that like it occupies a lot of their kind of like mental bandwidth, even if they're not physically present at the time. So I don't need it to be like on scene a lot, but I'll definitely probably drive some point home of like how it affects how Alon affects them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any other wishes like for Tonio or for Ezra?
Well, I think my kind of feelings as far as like what I want to do and see with Tonio is I definitely want to like drive towards that place of conflict for them between like faith and like the Tonio kind of isn't anything, right? Because they aren't, or like they don't have a strong central thing, and I want to like drive towards the point where that becomes a point of like tension and conflict, right? Where it's like maybe someone needs them to have like the answers or things like
or
that,
make a choice, right?
Or make strong choices because Tonio's going to keep. And this is the thing for like, this is me like saying to you, Jeremy, this is going to be like a thing where like Tonio as a character is going to keep trying to like dodge and weave and like defer. So I'd really like to be pushed on that. Right. Like someone trying to get Tonio to say, no, this is the truth. No, this is what's important. Right. Rather than Tonio being like, well, what's important to you? Well, what do you think's true? Right? Maybe they're not a bad guy. Maybe they're just being manipulated by someone's sister. Right? Like,
I think we can help with that too, Ash, because
Yeah.
one of the ways that Tonio can kind of defer is by looking to either Ezra or Measure to be like, well,
Yeah.
they'll take, like in this case, Ezra took direct action, right? Like you didn't have to make a decision. Like if one of us or both of us looks to you and is like, no, you have to choose, or you have to take action, or you have to do the thing. Like I could see that being.
Yeah, Tonio definitely did the thing there, like the move there at the end for Tonio of allowing my doubt to drive my despair. It was like, I have faith that everyone is good, or like I had faith in Ezra, right? But I doubted and offered the opportunity for doubt, and then was proven right, and that was like, oh shit, right? So, but also but like Tonio's going to be like, well, that was obviously the right thing to do. That's the thing that Ezra needed to do, and that refusing to commit, right? That's how he's going to internalize that. So yeah, I'm interested. That's the thing that I'm really interested in pushing against for that character.
Yep.
One more wish is that what are we doing with Seg? What's going to happen with Seg? We need to figure this out.
Yeah.
Are they going to become like a little mini, not as Wong, but like
a little murder bot?
I'm getting the image of like a child playing murderer, and as a part of that, killing people.
Yeah, my plan, to be transparent as a GM, is to have Seg show up the same, like just being really cute and happy, with Ezra, like just to further along that, like, what is happening?
What did you do? Yeah, I wonder whether Measure sees Seg as your creation or not. It occurred to me that like, oh, I make things all the time. What do you make? This is what Ezra makes.
Tiny murder bots, apparently.
Yeah, right.
But they were helping, quotation mark. Yeah, but definitely my current idea for Seg is that there's this like, they're attached to Ezra. Like, is this proof that Ezra can be good for someone? Can Ezra help someone? Right? When, as an Aswang, usually that question is like, is having someone who's so good at violence like good ultimately, right? Like, what does that mean?
What is good in this aspect?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very philosophical
yes
situation for sure. But yeah, I thought everyone did a fantastic job though. And I'm super happy. So everybody who was watching, thank you so much. I'm so excited for the next session to see where it goes. Now that we've started the ball rolling, like as Morgan put it, like just starting that push.
Yeah.
I think I said that off screen, but I said the ball is heavy and the inertia is slow. So like once we get the ball rolling, we're good to go. But like how to get it there?
Yeah.
Well, I
awesome.
think that the nature of this game, even Jimmy, and a lot of and most blowing without blowing games is like you started saying, let's find out what's going on in your lives, right? So it was, the nature of it is not, you're in an elevator that's suddenly dropping, to crash. What do you do, right? Like we weren't presented immediately with a threat, so it felt more natural that we were kind of like getting to it slowly, but. Hey Jess, yes, the ball is heavy and the inertia is slow. It's a mantra.
Jess actually started that term in our podcast, so
Nice. Well,
I give them all credit. But
they're hanging out here in chat with us.
Hi, Jess. But yeah,
Hi, Jess.
that's they started it, and I just carried it along with me now, and like it's a good saying.
Nice, it is. Well, we should sign off. I am Sean. You see him pronouns. You can find me everywhere at Sean Nittner. My newest project is releasing a podcast version of this show, because a lot of folks have said that it's easier to listen to shows than to watch them. So I'm going through old completed series of old actual play shows, and I'm downloading them to MP3 and releasing them as podcast and adding a little commentary at the end of them, so that I can get a chance after coming back to them a year or more later to reflect on them and talk a little about them. And then I'm ending the final episode with like an interview with the cast if they're available to talk about the show. So that's been, so far I just finished the first season, which is the Burning Wheel game with Judd, the Ballad of Bean Jonas, and I think next time we'll do Band of Blades or Scum and Villainy. I'm not sure which, but anyway, I'm excited about podcasting again because I haven't done it in a decade. Also, one note that I forgot at the beginning, which is that all the proceeds from our Twitch stream are going split evenly between Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal Defense Fund. So if you are supporting us, that is where your money is going. If you want to support them directly, that is also wonderful. If you want to take other sort of action that is not monetary related, because I know cash is tight, I'm going to put some links in chat of some good forms of activism that you can take. So that's my long-winded outro. How about you, Morgan?
Hi, I'm Morgan. I use they, them, and she, her pronouns interchangeably. You can find me on all the socials at Serena Beso. I do a lot of podcasting work. Going with that, one of the main things I do is Powered by the Players, which is a Powered by Apocalypse actual play podcast, where we will run one-shots and mini campaigns of all your PBTA games with a rotating diverse cast. I lost my train of thought. I'm with Utopia. I'm on the Kahania, which is a Swords and Meaning Quest stream that happens every other Wednesday. I do stuff. Just follow my socials, so you'll figure this out. But yeah, that's me. But how about you, Ash?
I've been Ash. I've been Tanya. You can find me on the internet and everywhere at Acegiak, ACEGIAK, where I stream sometimes, but mostly make a lot of games. I've put out some updates recently for my Cyberpunk fantasy game, In Which We Live and Breathe. Been working on my tabletop / computer single player multiplayer role playing game Ruins, which defies most labels that I throw at it. So it's a roguelike, at least. You go down in dungeons and you adventure and find things, and then if you die, you die. That's about the best I've got. Other than that, I am super hype for our next session, and I'm glad that we get to play. Jamie.
Hi, so I've been Jamie, they, them pronouns, and I'm super, super grateful to be able to run BALIKBAYAN for you all. So I'm excited for the next session too. Thank you for putting up with me while I threw in like an android getting murderous and stuff like that. That's always fun for me. You can find.
We love that.
And you can find me. Yeah, let's have more. I just love robots. I love them so much. So you can find me on Twitter at Temporal Hiccup. You can also find me at itch.io at Temporal Hiccup. I also have a Patreon, Sword Queen Games, and my current big project also, aside from Balikbayan, is Apocalypse Keys, which is a PBTA game that's heavily inspired by Hellboy, but has a lot of emotions. Like in our last session, we almost legit cried, which I felt like is a good sign. But yeah, it's like Monster Hearts with like Hellboy. I guess that's it. Sort of. Yeah, I saw Morgan activate. I should send you this stuff. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Awesome. It's been great seeing everybody, and we'll catch you all in a couple of weeks. Bye.